Hello, welcome to Make Your LinkedIn Profile Stand Out. My name is Jackie Owen. As we gather online for this presentation, we recognise that many of us are on different lands of different traditional custodians. We would like to acknowledge all of the traditional custodians of the lands we are present on and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are watching this presentation. We pay our respects to each of their elders, past, present and emerging. Well, hopefully I don't have to convince you to start your LinkedIn profile today. Hopefully you've already done that and you're just looking for some advice on tips to make it the best that you can. LinkedIn is certainly a wonderful research for looking for a job. It will connect you with all sorts of different opportunities, all sorts of different job vacancies and all sorts of different people who might be looking for staff. It's certainly a 24/7 resume that can be accessed at any time from any place. However, it's more than that. So yes, you will use it maybe at this time to look for your dream job after leaving university or as an undergraduate, but certainly you'll use it for other things as well across the years. You'll connect to knowledge. So that could be within the legal profession or broader subjects that might take your interest. You'll use it to connect to other opportunities. So it could be attending events, it could be certain CPD opportunities, or just opportunities to get involved with different organisations. You can use it as a learning and development skill enhancer. You can use it to build your professional identity. You can use it to build a network, and you can use it to connect to the legal profession, but also other professions locally, nationally, but also globally. It's a really powerful connector of people. And you can certainly use it as a discovery tool for research, whether that's researching people, opportunities, or information. So it really is a very powerful tool that you can use at different times in different ways. I love this analogy about what other social medias do. So let's take the example of donuts. Okay, Facebook, I like donuts. Here's a picture of a nice donut. Watch me eat a donut. That's what you would do on Snapchat. Of course, then we have Instagram. Here's a cool picture of my donut. Pinterest, here's a donut recipe. Spotify, well, I'm listening to donuts. And of course, WhatsApp, anyone want a donut? So that's what other social medias platforms do in regards to donuts. But on LinkedIn, you have a more professional mindset. So it might be any of these things. I hope to operate a donut franchise one day. So sharing your dreams and aspirations professionally. I'm looking for a job at a donut company. So putting it out there to your network that you're looking for a job and seeing what opportunities they might have or what opportunities they might know of. I have 3 years of experience making donuts. So putting it out there that you have the skills and experience to be able to perform a job at a donut company, or just recording that you have that skill. My top skills are donut production and sales, so specific skills relating to your experience in donuts. And here are 3 recommendations from former donut colleagues to verify that I do have that experience. So you would put all these things on your profile, and you might tweak them and change them to reflect what you're actually looking to do with your LinkedIn profile at that time. So action, if you haven't already done so, grab your phone and download the LinkedIn app now or shortly after watching this presentation. I'm actually going to show you how to use the app later to connect with people on the spot, and it certainly can almost replace a business card. And I find this a great icebreaker at networking events. It'll also mean that you have LinkedIn on the go, and it'll mean that you don't miss any opportunities, or you can continue LinkedIn conversations no matter where you are, and certainly use some of your downtime. For example, when you're traveling on public transport, you're sitting on the train or the bus, and you might make it a goal to look at other profiles and maybe connect with 2 or 3 people each trip that you're taking. So that's a great thing to do as well. So make sure you pop it on your phone. All right, let's start with actually how to put together a good LinkedIn profile. And I've got a couple of tips to sort of take it to the next level as well. So the first thing to have is a LinkedIn profile image. This is really, really important. Your profile picture should represent your work style. So you should be dressed as if you were going to the office or maybe going to an interview and not sort of hanging out with your friends on the weekend. A professional photo will increase the likeliness of your profile being found and opened. Now, I don't mean that you have to go and pay to have a professional photographer take it, but it just needs to reflect your professional self. So you can certainly dress appropriate, stand up against sort of a blank background and have someone snap one for you on your mobile phone camera. Don't have it sort of as a selfie like you would on Facebook. Have someone actually stand back and take that photo for you. Your new contact that you've maybe met at a networking event will want to be able to go, oh, that's right, that's that person I was speaking to last night or at the event the other night. And it'll be a great way for them to put a face to the name that pops up on LinkedIn. A head and shoulders shot is most appropriate. And as I mentioned, dress as if you're about to go into the office, into work, or for an interview. Make sure that the background isn't too busy. You can, of course, have something in the background, but just make sure it's not too busy. And yes, no selfie shots. Save that for Facebook or one of the other social media platforms. So profiles that do have a good picture will get up to 9 times more connection requests, 21 times more profile views, and 36 times more messages. And this is actually data that I researched from LinkedIn itself. So it's very important to have that good photo. So here's a few don'ts so you can get the idea. Don't have an empty picture. You come across as maybe having something to hide, and you're less likely to come up in searches and have your profile opened. So just remind people of who you are. And this is particularly important when you are job hunting stage. Don't use anything from Facebook. So don't go, oh, I looked really lovely at that event the other night. I'll just grab that and use it. Don't be at the pub or have a photo where you've cropped out one of your mates. That looks a bit strange and it might have taken off a bit of your arm. And don't be holding a beverage or of some sort of adult beverage. So all of these ones are not appropriate. There's other people in them. Other people have been cropped out. Or the first one is obviously at the pub. Don't use your Tinder or dating profile shot, and don't look like you should be in an ad. The first one and maybe the third one would be appropriate if you were a personal trainer, but you're potentially not. You are a lawyer or an aspiring lawyer, so you need to look appropriate. Don't use your holiday snaps. I mean, these are all gorgeous photos, but you can't really see their faces or who they are, and a holiday photo is not appropriate for a professional environment. Don't show off and use your action snaps, like I wish I could do all of these things, but again, you can't see who these people are, you can't see their faces, can't really see what they look like, and they're not appropriate unless you are a professional sports person in any of those sports. Don't have the photo taken too close as well, because again, you can't really see what that person looks like, and they're a little bit maybe distorted, or things have been cropped out. So it's just not. They're probably lovely photos if they were sort of weren't as cropped, but yeah, just make sure it's not too close, and don't use a wedding photo or a formal photo. Again, you might be with other people, but also, the boutonniere is probably not that appropriate. It's not what you would wear to the office, even though these are all lovely photos. Or with your pet. Now, I'm a little bit obsessed with my pets, but unless you're a vet, potentially, or a horse trainer in the second case, not the most appropriate picture for LinkedIn. And of course, everyone does have 2 minutes to stop and take a photo. No one's too busy or important, not to be able to do that. So maybe that looks a little bit, too try hard. So make sure that it is, you know, nice front viewing, head and shoulders, smiling at the camera, not too close, not too far away. You get the idea. I'm sure that you will be able to work something out. Now, I really like this feature that LinkedIn brought in a few years ago now. It's you can add a background banner. So maybe if you have your nice profile photo showing your head and shoulders, you could put some of your travel shots up in the banner. This one of mine is Brisbane City with a touch of bougainvillea in the corner, which is sort of a flower that's quite important to my family. It reminds me of my mum. She's still with us, but it just reminds me of my mum and makes me smile. We work very closely with a lot of professionals in the Brisbane CBD precinct. So that's just reflecting that and also showing the Story Bridge. So very iconic of Brisbane, which is where I'm based. I've seen other people do some great things with maybe a picture of the scales of justice. I've also seen one student who wrote in his summary that one of his professional goals was to work overseas. He particularly was keen to work in Hong Kong, and he had an image of the Hong Kong skyline, which was acted as a little bit of a vision board for him, but also backed up that career aspiration. So be creative. You might like to show where you're from. If you're, say, from a particular town or city, you want to show that off. Certainly use your creativity and show a touch of your personality. I've got Brisbane just because that's where I'm based and where I'm from and where I work. So it's up to you. This is a great feature. You can actually record your name. So if you do have a particularly difficult name to pronounce, and sometimes people might get it wrong, it's a great way to show respect to your potential connections and letting them know how to pronounce your name. So maybe a grad recruiter might listen to that and then get your name correct when you come in for an interview, or that they might be calling you. So pronounce your name for others and make a great first impression. You can update this on your mobile, and you've got 10 seconds. So you might not need quite all of those 10 seconds, but if you have a long name, you've got 10 seconds. And just make sure you're doing it in a quiet spot where you can limit your background noise. So that's a great option that LinkedIn's given us. Now, moving on to the LinkedIn profile headline. This will give an immediate impression of who you are as a professional or who you might aspire to be. Be careful, as it will default to your first listed or current name, current role. So, if you're working in retail hospitality, it will default to that. So you might be team leader at McDonald's, but actually you need to change that to what you aspire to be to make it sort of more relevant to the legal profession, so that if you're connecting with people in the profession, senior practitioners, they'll potentially might be interested in connecting to people who are in retail and hospitality out of the legal profession. But if they see that you're a law student and an aspiring legal practitioner, they'll be more inclined to connect with you. So do you want to be seen as a future barrister or a barista? An informative headline will help you also come up in searches because the keywords will pop, and be a short, memorable, professional slogan for you. And LinkedIn's actually changed it a little while back so that you can have more than just one short sort of job role almost. You can actually put, because we all wear a lot of hats. So this is Anne-Marie David. She's the Executive Director of the College of Law in Queensland. She's a CEO, she's a legal educator, she's a champion of diversity and inclusion, and she's supporting the next generation of Australian lawyers. So it sums up a few different hats that Anne-Marie wears within the profession. And anyone that knows Anne-Marie will be probably nodding and agreeing with that summary. I love this one. This is Sarah Henderson. She works for the University of Queensland in the law faculty as a careers advisor. So it's a really clear snapshot of who Sarah is, of her personality, and also what she does at UQ as well. So supporting students to build meaningful and joyful careers in a rapidly changing world, rather than just careers advisor, which she has there, but that certainly gives a little bit more snapshot of the full extent to her role. And her banner's great. That's actually an event that she recently organised. So it's actually showing what she does. So I thought that was quite clever as well. There's an auditorium with a great panel of speakers, all from the legal profession, and she had organised that event. So, and you can even see Belle in the background, which is the Business, Economics and Law faculty at UQ. So it's a little bit of branding back to her employer, which was quite clever. Now, I took this snapshot of Sarah's profile on my mobile, and it just shows you some stuff that we have in common. So we both studied at QUT, and we've both worked at QUT in the past. And if I look at her contacts, I would see that she actually does have a lot in common with me, from which are the people that I used to work with at QUT, and she used to also work with at QUT, even though we didn't actually ever work there at the same time. So LinkedIn's great for showing how you are connected to a person as well. So moving on to your professional summary. So this is your opportunity to make a great first impression and tell your story. It's your elevator pitch. And remember, we have something like 7 seconds to make that good first impression. So you need to do it quickly with a great, not only a great picture and a headline, but also the professional summary is probably the next thing that people will look at. It's really critical in building connections and relevance for the reader. So what is your unique selling point for the reader to engage and read further into your profile? Write it in the first person. So you write, I might write, I am a business development professional with experience in blah, blah, blah. Not Jackie Owen is an experienced professional with experience in blah, blah, blah. It does sound probably a little bit pompous, and you see this quite a lot in the legal profession, because a lots of people who have profiles up on their firm websites that are really beautiful and written by their marketing team will just cut and paste that onto the LinkedIn profile rather than rewriting it in the first person. So that's just a little tip there. So write about what you do, how you could add value to organizations that might be interested in employing you, what your transferable skills are, which is really important as a student or a recent graduate if you don't have that much legal experience, but you can definitely talk about how the skills that you do have translate into the legal profession. So it could be things like customer service or the ability to communicate with people from different backgrounds, some really important skills in the law. Just be careful not to use cliches and be careful of buzzwords. You want keywords, but not buzzwords. So focus on your career accomplishments, but also your aspirations. Where is it that you want to take your career? Describe your work performance and skills rather than your personality traits. So talking about being friendly isn't really something that will capture the attention of a potential employer, but talk about more about your time management skills or your ability to communicate with people, for example. And you can also use this as a call to action, so you can invite people to connect to you if they happen to come across your profile. And you could put contact details, but I'd be very careful about this. It's probably better to invite people. I have seen people put their email addresses up, but then just remember that you don't want sort of that getting into the hands of the wrong people or maybe being used by spammers. So you could certainly invite people to connect, have a private conversation where you share your personal contact details if you deem it to be a safe thing to do. Don't upload your resume, as I have seen done. I have seen that done once with a person who had their home address and all her contact details. So that was a bit dangerous, and she did take that down straight away once we pointed that out. Okay, experience. It does not need to be related to the law. Of course, if you have legal experience, have that front and center, but you can use it to show other work that you've done. So include those jobs for now. As a law student or a recent graduate, you might not have had that much experience in the law, but you might have had other roles. So you have those on for now, and you can certainly take those by the time you've maybe moving to your second or third job. Within the legal profession, you could drop those, your hospitality and your retail ones off, or keep them there, but sort of take out the further information you might have underneath those headings. It's certainly a living, breathing entity, the LinkedIn profile, and it needs to change and as you move further into the profession. Make sure you include internships and voluntary positions as well as your paid roles. Every single graduate recruiter I've ever spoken to loves to see volunteering. And again, it might not be in the legal profession, but it certainly says a lot about your work ethic and your sort of commitment to giving. And of course, pro bono work is very important within the profession. So it's a great thing to include those as well. Provide a brief outline of your responsibilities, duties and achievements. So as you become more senior, you might have some statistics to back up your performance about sort of different matters that you might have been involved with without, of course, giving away any confidentiality. But for now, you could certainly point out responsibilities and duties and achievements in other roles which are transferable. You could use bullet points if you wanted to describe the achievements of each role, describe what you achieved rather than what you were responsible for, especially if you've been involved in potentially some special projects in the roles that non-legal roles that you have worked in. If you've got them, include numbers and statistics to quantify your statements and add credibility to your profile. This might not be something that you can do at this stage. Add in other certifications and certificates as well. Include non-academic activities. So if you've been involved with the Law Student Society, for example, certainly that would be something well worth adding. If you've been involved in mooting, for example, include any other languages that you might speak. Anything to sort of flesh out and really show who you are over and above what might be just on a 2-page resume that you might submit for a job. Now, skills. We'll talk about skills and we'll talk about endorsements. They're sort of in the same area, but they're they sort of show different things. So skills is literally just skills. So here's one from my profile: event management, leadership, CRM. And the funny thing is, some of these things I've added, some of these things other people have added onto my profile. So they're not necessarily things that I've added. I certainly haven't added 46 skills, and I probably need to go through and edit what some of those are, but literally just lists of skills, so different areas of law that you might know, and or different things, whether it is communication skills, teamwork, leadership, event management, other things that are over and above your legal skills. So LinkedIn says that profiles with 5 or more skills received up to 17 times more profile views. And of course, these will come up in searches. So make sure you use frequently searched keywords, and you can go through job listings to see what employers are looking for. So look up jobs that you potentially could be applying for now or in the future and see what some of the key skills that they're looking for are. Showcase what you were good at, and you can have up to 50, although I would say that, quality, not quantity. So don't just pop things on there just to get those numbers up, and don't put things on that you don't have skills in. That's really important. And make sure that they are appropriate for the level that you are at. Of course, courtroom advocacy is potentially not a skill that you would have as a final year law student. So connections can then endorse these skills to verify that they think that, yes, you have these skills and you're good at them. So as you can see, I've got 86 endorsements for event management, because I have done a fair bit of that over the years. So that's good that 86 of my connections think that I've got the skills. And of course, if the person who's looking to maybe give you a job interview is a mutual connection to some of those people. So let's just say you can see that Belinda Hopgood, a very experienced event professional around Brisbane, if people knew Belinda and knew of her skill in event management, it would add some credibility to me. She thinks I'm also good at event management. Recommendations. Now, they're a little bit different to just skills, which are just, keys, a list really that people say yes, yes, yes. This is a lot more powerful, I think. It's a testimony. It's sort of almost like a mini reference. And it certainly adds a lot of credibility and a lot of strength to your profile. It's short statements written by people in your network about a specific job or role that you have had. So right now I'm at the College of Law. Previously to that, I was at CPA Australia. Previously to that, I was at QUT. So people have written underneath each of those roles. So people that know me at the College of Law write a recommendation under this role. People who used to know me when I was at my previous employers would write under and about recommending me under those different roles. But of course, lots of those skills transfer to whatever job you might be in now or that you might be looking for. Think about who you can ask for a recommendation. It could be a previous manager or a boss or a colleague you've worked with, lecturers or fellow students. So potentially, let's just say that you have a leadership role within a Law Student Society. You could ask the president of the Student Society to write you one. If you are the president, you could ask some of your key executive team members to write a recommendation for you. Make sure that they can actually speak to the work skills and experience that you have under that role. I have been asked by students that I've briefly met on campus to give them a recommendation. I spoke to them for 15 minutes. I'm really not the best person to speak to any of their skills or experience because I don't know that. That was a little odd. But other people I've worked with, say they were working for me on my team or they were a colleague or a student that I've worked with on campus, I can certainly write recommendations about the work that we jointly did together. Make a strategic list and contact these people to ask for a recommendation. Let them know that you're working on your profile to support your job search. I like to make this list and then contact them off LinkedIn. So either send them an email, send them a text message, send them a LinkedIn message, of course, or an email, or just good old-fashioned ring them up and ask them. And you might say, hey, I'm trying to zhuzh up my profile for when I'm ready for a job search. You know, would you like to support me in writing me a recommendation? Once you've done that, you can actually go through the recommendations, and then there's a bit under recommendations on your profile to say request a recommendation, and you send that through LinkedIn to them. They'll be expecting it now, and they can write something and then they send it back for you to review. You can check there's no spelling mistakes or anything like that in it. If there is, you can send it back and go, oh, there's just a little spelling mistake. Would you mind just fixing that up? But once you're happy with it, you can put it onto your profile. Now, this is some that I have. You can see that I've received 17. So Tanisha is a student I worked with on a university campus. Anita Hall is a current lecturer at the College of Law, so we work very closely together. And Karen Collier and I used to do a lot of work together when she was at a previous university. So different people that I've worked with in my current position, but you can actually turn those on and off. So you might have 17, but only want to show 5 that are for your, 4 from your current role, 1 from your previous role, but you can turn them on and off to reflect maybe different job applications that you're going for. And they help build credibility and validate the skills that you might have previously listed that other people have endorsed you for. And it is certainly quality, not quantity. It really, really is with recommendations. So go for a few really good ones of people that you've worked closely with over and above just, having as many as you can on your profile. Now, this is a really important thing that people often forget to do. Customize your URL. So don't keep the random combination assigned to you. It makes it more professional, and you can use it on business cards, your email signature, and your resume, which means you can put far more information on your LinkedIn profile, and recruiters can go and look at that separately. So we do have a great College of Law LinkedIn booklet for instructions. I will arrange for that to go out with this recording. But if you are, come across this recording and haven't received that original email, I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a LinkedIn message, and I will certainly send that to you. As you can see, mine has been edited to Owen Jackie. So you can look me up. You can just put JACQUIOWEN in the search bar, and I do come up. But my exact handle is Owen Jackie. So unfortunately, another Jackie Owen with the same spelling had taken Jackie Owen, so I went with Owen Jackie. But if you had a really common name or one, there's lots of John Smiths, for example, you might put John Smith lawyer or something like that. So it doesn't have to be just your role. So be a bit creative if you like. So if you can't work that out, message me and I'll send you the booklet with the instructions. Okay, here's some technical skills. Featured posts. I love this. So it's really important once you have this beautiful LinkedIn profile to take it out and use it. So you wouldn't buy a beautiful new car and then just lock it away in the garage. You would take it out for a spin whenever you can, and you would use that that tool for what you had bought it for. So to increase the analytics of your profile, which means it will be seen by more people, you can do several things. So you might at first just like comments that other people have. You might put a comment on someone's post that, so maybe there's some really great, someone's posted about a really great event coming up. Let's just say it's a LinkedIn skills workshop, another one that you might like to do a masterclass at the advanced level perhaps, and you might put, say, I've shared it. You might say, thanks, Jackie, thanks for sharing that event. I think I'm going to attend this, or something like that. And the great thing is, by putting a comment onto someone else's post, you're actually making that post go further out into LinkedIn land. So your network will see that post over and above just that person's network. So you're helping other people to spread their sort of information further. You can, of course, be super brave and put a post up yourself. And it could be just a simple post. So it could be the first day of uni, snap a picture of yourself on campus, and selfies are all right for posts, just not for your profile photo. And it might say, great to be back on campus, after the break, looking forward to my first whatever lecture today. Or you might be taking part in a conference. There was lots of posts that I saw throughout my network of the ALSA conference when that happened. So that was great to see what other people experienced at that event. Or it might be something that you've done. You've attended a panel, a networking event. I've recently done a post showing some people that I met at an event and thanking them for being there and chatting to me and joining my network. So all sorts of different things. Students sometimes get a bit scared about doing their own posts because they think the profession don't want to see what they have to say, but they really do. And believe me, an interesting snap day, let's say you're lucky enough to live by the beach and you take your law books down to the beach, and you might take a photo of your toes in the sand with the law book on your lap and say, doing some family law study at the beach today, or something far wittier than that. And that will probably get a lot more likes and shares and comments than just a boring old update on some technical thing about the law. So keep it professional, but share what you're doing within your study, within your job search, within your networking, and within your work as well. So have a bit of fun. That will go a lot further than, so a like is the first level of connection, and boost your analytics a little bit. Comments take it a bit further, and your own posts will obviously take it a bit further and go further out into LinkedIn. By increasing your analytics and regularly connecting with people, messaging people, commenting, liking and posting, your profile is more likely to come up in searches. And at this point in your career, it's probably very important because you might be looking for a role, and it will be more likely to come up in a graduate recruiter search, which is really important. Now, how to connect. I like, if you're doing it on a desktop or a laptop, let's just say you're connecting with me, you'll look up Jackie Owen, JACQUIOWEN, you'll connect, and it'll say add a note. And you can actually put a note to personalize that invitation and remind the person how you know them, thank them for something or explain why you want to connect. So you might send me a note saying, I watched your presentation and you know, you said to connect with me, so this is what I'm doing now. You might have met someone at a networking event last night, send them a connection this morning and say, dear, whoever the person's name is, dear Jackie, it was really lovely to meet you last night. I'd really like to remain connected with you on LinkedIn. And that's all you have to put. If you're sort of searching for lawyers in your area, and you might do this to build up your connections, say you really want to work in family law, and so you could look up on LinkedIn people who are doing great things in the family law space, or you saw them present on a panel, or you met them at an event, or they're just in your local area, but perhaps you didn't really have a big conversation. You could just connect with them and say, hi, I'm a university student and I'm really keen to work in family law, or, you know, in the area that you work in, I'd love to connect with you and follow what you're doing. No one will ever say no to connecting with a student. So take this opportunity at this time to connect with the profession. If they say no, then it's not the person you want to be connected at. But most people you'll find will be quite excited to connect with university students. Now, I mentioned that you should download the app and use a QR method to connect at events. This is a great icebreaker and saves you carrying or asking for business cards. It's kind of a fun thing to do at an event. So let me show you. So to connect via a QR code, you go into your LinkedIn app, and as you can see, that first screenshot is showing the little QR square up in the corner there. You click on that, and then it'll bring the second screen up. Now, there's two options. There's my code and then scan. So one of you will click on my code and hold up that square, and the other person will click on scan, and then that second phone will scan your code, or the other way around, and then it'll send an instant connection. So you don't have to type in, how do you spell Jackie? You can, it just does it all instantly for you. So it's a great way to connect with someone at an event. And a couple of minutes later, you get a ping, this person wants to connect with you. You can accept or decline, and then you are automatically connected, which is really great. So as I was saying just before, don't have this shiny new profile all zhushed up and ready to go and not use it to connect to the profession. So first of all, I would say make sure your profile isn't set to private in your settings. You want it set to public, because there's no use not being able to be connected with by people who might be looking to employ you. You have control. So if it's not someone you want to connect with, if it's a little bit random, you can say no to a connection. But you certainly, you know, can decide on the spot whether or not the incoming connection request is someone you want in your network. So use that profile, like, comment, share, and post. So that's another thing you can help people. So be generous with what you're putting out. So if someone is organising an event, let's just say you see someone, your friend at uni might be involved in the Law Student Society, and they're organising a really great networking event, and you think, well, I'm interested in that. I might, one, see if other people want to come with me, or two, just share it with other students who might also be interested. Share it and put your own little sentence up saying, this looks like a great event. You know, I'm interested in attending or looking forward to the keynote speaker, or who wants to go to this with me, or whatever. That's a great way to push out someone else's content into your network and share the love, so to speak. And yes, the more you like and then comment and then share and then post, so that's the value of those interactions, the more the analytics your own analytics will be boosted, and it increases the probability of the right person seeing your profile. So be very generous. So offer help before you ask to receive, but certainly people, you know, asking in the right way and being generous will make it so that people are more likely to help you when you need help in the future. So build your connections, research and connect with those in your geographical area or in your area of interest. You don't have to connect with local lawyers. You can be connecting with lawyers certainly from around your state, nationally and even internationally. Connect with your fellow students. Wouldn't you want to know important people now rather than in the future when they're working in a firm that you might want to work in, or down the track there might be jobs going at your firm that you want to share with someone that you've gone to law school with. So connect now with people before they're important and influential. And as I said, no one ever says no to connecting to students. And if they do, well, don't worry about it. And you'll be very surprised, just adding that little note saying, I'm a law student at this university. I'd love to connect with you and follow the work that you do, or, you know, whatever in your own words it might be. And be professional. So LinkedIn is not Facebook for old people, as someone has said in the past. It is a professional networking platform, and you behave the same way on LinkedIn as you would in the workplace. And just a few little tips that this is my personal opinion about how I behave. You certainly no bad language on any of the posts. Remember that future employers can read all the history of what you've posted. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything, as your mothers have all told you, no doubt. Also, I stay away from political comments and conversations. You might read them, but I don't put anything of that persuasion or any sort of real controversial things as well. So there's a few issues, maybe around Australia, but also coming out of America and other parts of the world. So just be careful and remember, would you want a future employee reading what you are writing? So be kind, be generous, be nice, and what you put out to your network will come back to you. So that's just a little bit of advice from me. So thank you very much for viewing this presentation. I hope you've learned a few things. There is, of course, a lot more information out there, so do your own research. If you find any tips that you think I should include in this presentation for the future, then please let me know. I would love you to connect with me. So look me up on LinkedIn, practice sending a LinkedIn request, and let me know that you've watched this presentation and that I said that you should connect with me. So I would love to have all of your connection requests. I do recommend following the College of Law on social media, on LinkedIn for sure, but Facebook, because we put a lot of information out about the profession on both platforms. If you do need any further information, you can certainly contact the College of Law on the email and the phone number provided. So all the best. I look forward to seeing you out in LinkedIn land and also to receiving your connection requests and messages. So thank you very much for watching.